Hello everybody and welcome to your weekly N.E.S.T Reading. I'm Kat and today we will be reading the short story called Welcome to the Forest by Bhavna Menon. It's illustrated by Kavita Singhali and the drawings are very beautiful, and that's part of the reason why I chose this book. This short story is about visually impaired students who go on a school trip to experience the forest in ways that are very unique. Because they can't see, they have to smell, they touch, they taste, and they experience the forest in a very special way. And I thought it would be very interesting to see the perspective of a visually impaired person, and the descriptions of the things that they experience are very special as well. So I thought that would be very interesting for you guys to read about and to experience through this book. If you don't already have the book in front of you already, or the PDF, the link to the book is in the description box below, and I'm going to read a few pages first, and then we go back, and then I will explain or describe a few words that might be quite difficult, and I'll do that continuously throughout the reading. And if you have any trouble accessing this book, please just email us and we'll sort out how you can get the PDF version. Okay. So, welcome to the forest. Tulsa wishes she could visit a forest. Her teacher reads stories about tigers to the class. She loves to hear about forests and animals. One day, her wish comes true. Kara Chacha, a senior forest official, invites Tulsa and her friends to visit a forest called N.E.S.T Tiger Reserve. Tulsa and her friends can't stop grinning. They will go to the forest for a whole day and a whole night. It takes 4 hours by bus from the school to the forest. As soon as Tulsa gets down from the bus, a strong hand shakes her hand and then ruffles her hair. Welcome to N.E.S.T. It is Kara Chacha. Okay, that's page 4, and let's go back to page 3. Okay, so there are 3 words here that I want to go through. So the first one is official. Official can be an adjective, but in this sentence, it's a noun. So this noun is an official, when it's a noun, is an important person. So an official could be someone who works for the government. They represent an organization, and they have official duties. They have official tasks to complete when they are an official. And the second word is reserve. So in the sentence, it says that the forest is called N.E.S.T Tiger Reserve. So in this sentence, reserve is a noun, and a reserve is a place that is set aside for a very special use. So a reserve is a very specific place that is used in a very specific way. In this case, the N.E.S.T Tiger Reserve is to protect the tigers. And the third word that we will go through is grinning. So to grin, which is a verb, it means to smile broadly or smile widely. So when you have a very big smile, that's when people grin. And then the next page, to ruffle someone's hair. That's in the second sentence of the next page. So to ruffle someone's hair means to play with someone's hair and to make it a bit messy by doing this. So you take your hands and you ruffle someone's hair. There is a mistake in the first sentence. So it begins, as soon as Tulsa gets down. Gets down should be 2 words. So there should be a space between the S and the D. Just to clear that up, just in case you think it's one word after this reading. I just want to clarify that is a mistake. So gets down, 2 words. Okay, the next page, let's begin reading again. Page 5. Tulsa and her friends Rani, Mitu and Dipti stay close to one another. Sniff the air. It smells of trees and leaves, says Mitu. The air is clean like it has been washed with soap, adds Rani. It's almost sunset now. Karachacha and other forest officials tell them about the forest they will visit tomorrow. They play the sounds of animals and birds for the girls to hear and recognize. Pyong pyong. It's a peacock. Ooh ooh. I know. It's a barking deer. Ki ki. That is the sound of crickets. Next day, Tulsa wakes up at 5 in the morning. Brr, it's cold. Everyone bundles up in warm clothes. One by one, they get into the bus. All around us, there is tall grass covered in a thick blanket of fog, Ranveer Uncle, the forest guide, tells them. Tulsa can feel the cold and pure air in her mouth. It tastes like mint leaves. Okay, that's page 7, and let's go back to page 5. Okay, so in the first word of the second sentence, sniff, to sniff the air. Sniff means to breathe loudly, to breathe in loudly through your nose to smell something. So when someone's cooking, for example, and you sniff the air, that means you're trying to smell something. And the next page, to recognize, the last word of the page. Recognize means to remember something because you have come across it before. So, for example, if you go to a gallery, you would recognize a painting because you have seen it before somewhere else. So to recognize, it means to remember. And there is another mistake in this. In the sentence where it says, it's almost sunset now. Karachacha and other forest officials tell them about the forest. So about the should be 2 words. So a space should be between the 2 T's. So I just want to clarify again, just in case you get the wrong idea of the 2 words. And the next page, on page 7, peacock. So a peacock is the bird that you see on the bottom right of this page. It's a very bright and colourful animal, and it's a very famously beautiful bird. Yeah. And the word before, it's cold. B-R-R-R. I can't personally say it because I can't roll my R's, but when authors write that, it's an exclamation, and this sound is made when people feel cold, and it's often written with 3 R's, so that's like an official way to write it. Yeah. And the second sentence of that paragraph, to bundle up. Everyone bundles up in warm clothes. So, to bundle up, it means to dress yourself in a lot of layers of warm clothes because you're cold. So when you bundle up, you wrap yourself up in a lot of layers to keep warm. And the next sentence, all around us, there is tall grass covered in a thick blanket of fog. So blanket of fog. Blanket in this sentence means a layer. So the fog is so thick that it looks like a layer. And that's just to you could describe clouds in the same way. The blanket of clouds. When you fly in an airplane and you look down, and there is just, all you can see are clouds. That's like a blanket of clouds because it's so, there's so much of it that it looks like a layer. Okay, so next page, on page 8. Shh, Ranveer uncle whispers. There are 2 jackals right next to our bus. Everyone listens carefully. They hear the rustling sound of the tall grass. Dried leaves crush under their feet as the jackals run lightly into the dense forest. Ranveer uncle whispers again. A big deer called Sambar is standing on the left side of the road. The deer is brown and has big stem-like horns called antlers on its head. Everyone focuses to their left. Honk, honk. The Sambar runs off. Sounds like a very big horn, says Tulsa. All the girls laugh. That's page 9, and let's go back to page 8. Okay, so in the first sentence, Ranveer uncle whispers. So a whisper is to talk very softly and very quietly. When you, for example, if you have a secret, you whisper that secret. You do it. Normally, in movies, they would do it like this, and you whisper in someone's ear. And a jackal, there are 2 jackals right next to our bus. A jackal is a wild dog, so it looks a bit like a wolf, and they live in, they're not domesticated, they're not normal dogs. You can't have them in your house, specific to the wild. And the next sentence, they hear the rustling sound of the tall grass. Rustling. So the rustling sound, it means a soft, muffled, crackling sound that's created by movement of dry leaves or paper. So, for example, I can just show you. So it's like this. It's a crackling, very soft sound. It's not loud at all. And it's when your feet, when you walk in a forest and there are dry leaves everywhere, when you walk on it, the leaves, they can rustle. They can, they just move around. Yeah. And the word dense. So, jackals run lightly into the dense forest. That's the last part of this page. Dense in this case means crowded and closely packed. So, a dense forest means that there are a lot of trees that are close together in the forest. So, it's very, very crowded. So, it's a very thick forest. And when you walk in there, all the trees are very close. And it doesn't feel like an open space. Okay, let's carry on reading. So we're on page 10 now. Soon the air becomes even cooler. We are near a river now, Ranveer uncle says. Tulsa can hear the gurgling of the water. So many birds are calling from the trees. Fui, fui. That one is whistling, says Rashmi. Yes, Rashmi. That's the call of a thrush, says Ranveer uncle. Keech, keech. And that screeching you hear is the call of the jungle babbler. Soft leaves fall from above. Baby monkeys are showering them with leaves. Tulsa picks up a leaf that falls on her. It smells fresh and pure, just like the forest. That's page 12, and we will go back to page 10. So in the first sentence, when she says, soon the air becomes even cooler, I'm saying it that way because there is emphasis on the word even. And even in this sentence is used in comparison to emphasize the coolness. So here they are saying that it was cooler than before. So they're comparing this situation to before. The writer is emphasizing how cool it is now compared to, for example, earlier on in the day. Yeah. So August for example, August is even cooler than July. Yeah. And then the first word of the second sentence that you can see, gurgling. So Tulsa can hear the gurgling of the water. Gurgling means hollow, like a hollow bubbling sound made by water. So what you would hear if you were by a river or a stream, and or if you pour water from a bottle, that's the gurgling sound. Yeah, what you hear when it comes out. And the next page, on page 11. So the second line, that one is whistling, says Rashmi. Whistling is to make a clear, high-pitched sound by forcing breath through your mouth. I can't personally do it, but when you whistle, is to make a really high-pitched sound. It's sometimes how you get your dog to come back to you, or to get someone's attention from very far away if you want to. And you can buy a whistle. So for example, if you play sports, the referee will have a whistle to stop the game or to call someone. But yeah, the third line, that is the call of a thrush. In this sentence, thrush is a type of songbird. So it's a bird that they're excited to see because it's known for its singing. Okay. And for the last sentence on page 11, and that screeching you hear is the call of the jungle babbler. Screeching means that here it's a noun. So to screech is to make a loud and harsh, piercing cry. It's a very unpleasant sound. It's not nice. It's just very, very loud. And a babbler, the last word, is another songbird. And yeah, let's move on to page 13. The bus starts moving uphill. Hold this creeper. See how it feels like a strong rope? The leaves are like cotton. Everyone takes turn to hold the creeper. This is the mahul, says Ranveer uncle. The leaves are used to make small bowls. Pyong, pyong. Peacock to your right, Ranveer uncle is excited. Is he dancing? asks Tulsa. Yes, uncle says. His feathers are shining in the winter sun and are sparkling like gemstones. Beautiful, says Tulsa. By now everyone is very hungry. They stop at the forest camp for breakfast. There, Karachacha announces a surprise. Some of our camp elephants are here. They won't mind if you touch them gently. Everyone starts squealing in delight. Soon, Tulsa is led to the elephant, Tara. Let's stop at page 16 and let's go back to page 13. So, let's have a look. So in the second sentence of page 13, he says, hold this creeper. A creeper is a plant that grows on the walls, along the ground or around other plants. So it's very long, it's very big, and it's very strong. And the next page, on the page 15, so get to page 15. If I'm moving too fast, you can just pause the video, go back, and so on. So on page 15, in the third line of the page, he says, sparkling like gemstones. His feathers are shining in the winter sun and are sparkling like gemstones. So sparkling, that means to shine brightly with flashes of light. So a diamond is sparkling. When the sun hits the water in the ocean, the water sparkles. If you read Twilight, the vampires sparkle, the skin. Yeah, so sparkling just means to glitter. Yeah, so yeah. And gemstones. A gemstone is a stone that is precious. It's a stone that is beautiful, polished, and used normally in jewelry. Yeah, and that's why sparkling is used to describe a gemstone, is because it's very beautiful in the light. And then on the next page, page 16, with the elephant, as you can see, squealing. So the last line, last sentence of the page, everyone starts squealing in delight. A squealing sound is a high-pitched sound people make when they're excited or they're very delighted at something. So if someone is very excited about getting good grades, and when they see the grades, they would squeal. So everyone starts squealing in delight. It means that it's a positive thing. Yeah. There is another mistake in this book. This is page 16 as well. In the last word of the second line, they won't mind you if you touch them. So touch them, there should be a space between the H and the T. So touch, Touch, that's one word, and them, Them. Yeah, so touch them. So let's carry on reading. Page 17. The guide places a hand on Tara's prickly stomach. Whoomp. Tulsa hears the sound of Tara's feet moving. Tulsa can feel the powerful muscles under her hand. Trumpeting softly, Tara places her trunk in Tulsa's hand, looking for food. Tulsa can't stop smiling as she feels the wet trunk. It's time to go back. On the way they pass a gore. The gore is chewing grass. The body is black, but the bottoms of the legs are white. It looks like the gore is wearing socks, says Ranveer Uncle. Everyone laughs. Suddenly, the air is split by a call, deep and loud. Next page. Oon. The call comes again. The tiger is very far, explains Ranveer Uncle. But he has probably seen you and wants you to know that. Sighing with happiness, Tulsa and her friends head out of the park. There are so many ways to experience the forest. They can't wait to come back to Kanha Tiger Reserve. Okay, that's the end of the story, but that's page 19, and let's just go back to page 17 to go over a few words. Okay, so in the first sentence, he says that Tara has a prickly stomach. The guy places her hand on Tara's prickly stomach. Prickly means to be covered in prickles, so like a hedgehog. If you know what a hedgehog looks like, it's very sharp and spiky. So that's what prickly means, is that you can, if you touch it, it kind of pricks your finger. Yeah, it's like a needle, like a bunch of needles. And in the third line of the first paragraph, trumpeting softly. So trumpeting means to trumpet. Trumpeting softly, it means to make a loud penetrating sound like a trumpet instrument. So it's an instrument that is very loud and it's used in the orchestra, and a trumpeting sound is very special to the elephant. So when an elephant is calling, they will make that sound. And a trunk in Tulsa's hand. Trumpeting softly, Tara places her trunk in Tulsa's hand. The trunk in this sentence is the nose of the elephant. So that's what the nose is called. But the trunk can also mean the back of the car. So there are two meanings, yeah. In the first sentence of the second paragraph, it says, it's time to go back. On the way, they pass a gore. A gore is a wild ox. You can see it on the next page in front of the truck. So it's the black ox in front of the truck if you look at the next page. And it's it's basically an ox. Yeah. And then on the last sentence of page 17, suddenly the air is split by a call, deep and loud. So a deep sound means that the sound is what you hear is very low in pitch and full in tone. So it's quite it's a very impressive sound, and it's a very so if you have a low voice, you have a deep voice as well. And on page 19, so on the last page, it says, sighing with happiness, Tulsa and her friends head out of the park. Sighing means when you sigh, you make a loud breath, and most of the time people use it to emphasize what they're feeling. So you can sigh with disappointment, you can sigh with happiness, with relief. So it's just when you find out that you are able to go on a trip, you sigh with happiness. So you go yeah, so it's just a breath out, and it's quite loud. Yeah. And that's the story. Okay, so I have a few questions for you guys to answer that I think would be quite would be a good test. So question number 1, you can pause between the questions if you feel like I'm going too fast. So question 1, what's an official? You can look at page 3 and 6 for clues. Number 2, what instrument does an elephant sound like when they're trumpeting? Do you remember the instrument? Number 3, what sound do people make when they're cold? How do you write it? And maybe you could do it as well. And number 4, what is a whistle? How do you whistle? Can you whistle? Okay, you can pause until you're ready to do the answers. So pause the video, and then unpause, and then I will show you the answers. So, number 1, the answers. What's an official? So, if you remember from page 3 and 6, an official is basically someone who is very important in their job, and specifically, it's someone who represents an organization or a government department, and they have very important tasks to complete because of their job. Number 2, what instrument does an elephant sound like when they are trumpeting? So it's in the word trumpeting. They sound like a trumpet, and you can look it up. You can look it up on another YouTube video to see what a trumpet sounds like, what an elephant sounds like, to get a better idea. Number 3, what sound do people make when they're cold? I personally can't do the sound because I can't roll my R's, but it's spelled B-R-R-R. So B and then 3 R's. And then number 4, a whistle is a high-pitched sound that you make through your mouth, or a bird can also whistle through their beak. And if you can demonstrate it for yourself, that would be wonderful. And if you have any questions about this story, please just email us or message us. I hope you've enjoyed this reading session, and I hope that it covered most of the things that you didn't understand, and have a very nice week reading this, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Okay, bye.